Hi everybody, welcome to Carasis Productions. This is John Mather and we're bringing you the next installment in building blocks for Headway themes. So in our last lot of videos we set up this basic page where you can download from, and at the moment if I go over to my block, where is it? Open the block. So what we had set up, we've got our content where we decide what content we want to have. So the URL link where the block will go to, the button will go to, sorry, whether we want to open a new tab, what we want the button to say, whether it's going to have a FontAwesome icon. We set up some styling in the heading here. Then we set up a styles tab where we can choose to have a button effect, where we can find out more about that in Hover CSS. And then we added some styling for our button in the back end. So looking at our page, this is our front page where we had a basic layout to define what we want the block to sort of look like, and this is where we're at with all our block options, where we've got to so far. So what we're ready to do now is we're ready to work out how we want to translate that into basically this code here. Okay, so we're now moving on from the block options PHP file to the block PHP file, so make sure you're working in the right one. We've got two functions here, set up elements. This is where we will set up our back end styling for the visual editor, but for now what we're going to concentrate on this video is translating across into this content block, which is what outputs on the front end. So you can see we've got a echo wobble vertical in an A link. So that is, let me just close that, that is this here, which is opening into a hash link. So let's get moving. So the first thing we want to do is we need to add in our a URL. So we want to call that from over here, which is, it's not a heading, it's the URL link. So we want to get the name that we called it, so headway dash button dash URL dash link. So just copy that one there, jump back into our block, and what we want to do is we want to go, so headway button URL, you can name this whatever you want with the $, and that is going to equal parent double colon, not semicolon, and we want to get underscore setting, so we're going to get the styling, and we want to make sure it's from the block, comma, and we want to go, so we're going to go look in the block that we're working in, which is in this content. We want to search for that naming, which is where we're storing the URL in this case, so what we put in the back end. So when we go into our back end here, so it's whatever we put in here, it's storing that. And then what we want to do is we want to give it a value, so a default value. So we don't want it to have a value of anything, so it's just purely going to be just double colon, what do you call them? Anyway, then we want to finish it off with a semicolon. So that's now, so it's now passing what that value from that name into that there. So we want to put that where we want it. So we want to go apostrophe, that's the word I was looking for before, dot, $, double click, copy to keep in there. Then we want to add another dot, and this here, this bit here, the apostrophe dot $, the name is what we want to pull the code. So now what it will do, it'll assign in the link to whatever we put in there. So if we leave it blank, it'll be nothing. It'll just be nothing in there. Then we want it, so now we want the class. So that's where we've got our vertical. So we go back into, so I'm not going to worry about just any of this just for now. So we want to get the hover effect, so that one there, and so we want to go headway button hover, btn hover, equals parent double colon get underscore setting open bracket dollar block, paste in the name for the effect, colon, and we're going to give it a default value of nothing. Once again, we don't want to add a hover effect by default, so if we go back to our page and we go to our style, so no effect equals none. If you remember, so if we jump back here, and default is none. So if we wanted to, we can make that none. Alright, so we can match the default that we put in the in there. In fact, if we go back up to our URL, so we added blank there, so we can match the default in there that we want it to be. And then what we want to do, get rid of that class we assign. We'll go apostrophe dot dollar sign, and we paste that code I copied dot apostrophe. So that's it. Now we've assigned that class, the button class, and now we want our text. So add checkbox button text, headway button text, and you can see the default is my button. So we go over to here and we're going to go $ headway button text equals parent double colon get underscore setting open bracket dollar block comma apostrophe, paste in our button text and my button, because we want a default in there. We want something, and then we want to make sure we finish off with a semicolon to close that out. We want something to be in our button. We want a text of some sort. So at the moment we've got that set to wobble vertical, so if you continue going, we want apostrophe dot $ double click copy paste $ apostrophe. That is all we've got so far. So let's just go in and Control C. Let's jump back into our edit plugin and we'll choose our block PHP file. And you can see we've still got our default class. We go Control V, and let's click Update File. And fingers crossed, when we refresh, right, open block options, we see nothing there. But now, when we go refresh, that'll say My Button. So let's go open that block. Oh, I keep opening the content. The custom code block, open that block. There we go. Let's go http www.headwaythemes.com. Visit Headway, and let's hit save. Let's hit refresh. And now it says visit Headway, and if we click on that, I'll open a new tab. It'll take us through to headwaythemes.com. So so far we have it working. So you can see we've got all that in effect. Now let's add in some more here. So let's go span class equals FA. And then we want to go. So we want FA. Oops, better put my inverted commas. FA. Let's delete that. Let's close out my span. All right, and in here we're going to put the FontAwesome. So we go apostrophe dot $. Right, and what we want to do is go $ headway button FontAwesome equals parent double colon get setting block comma, and let's get our FontAwesome icon. Where are we? FontAwesome icon, which is Headway button icon, and the default is none. Paste that in, and let's add our default as none and close that out. Copy that Headway button FA. Where will we paste that in there? Add in our full stop and our inverted comma. Let's go Control Alt Control C. Let's go back to our plugin there, our page. Control Alt Control V. Let's go update. Did that update? Yes. Let's just click it again. Check. Yeah. Let's hit refresh. Make sure it hasn't broken anything. Scroll down. Choose our Headway button, and now let's give it a nice awesome icon. Let's give it an anchor. Hit save, and let's refresh. Nothing's happening. Now, the reason why nothing is happening is because we haven't loaded the actual FontAwesome style sheet. So let's go in and add these, enqueue the style sheet it's called, enqueue them for both the hover effect. We might as well do that at the same time, and we'll add in our FontAwesome. Sorry about that, just pause the video while I just had a coughing fit. Alright, so we're still in our block PHP file. What we want to do is we want to add another function. I want to add in a public static function, and this function is called enqueue, which is spelled ENQUEUE underscore action, and then we want to go $block underscore ID comma $block comma $original underscore block equals null, and then open, and that'll automatically close for me. But if it doesn't, make sure you've closed off that curly brace. Sorry about that. So then we go, what we're going to do is use a WordPress function called WP enqueue. Make sure I spell that right, ENQUEUE, and it's a script. No, it's a style. We're not calling it like enqueuing a JavaScript file. We're queuing a CSS. We're going to name this CSS sheet, and we're going to call it FontAwesome CSS. FontAwesome CSS, and we want to go plugins underscore URL because we want to direct to the plugins folder. And where are we putting it? We are putting this, if I go desktop, if I go to our working directory, so we are putting it in a CSS hover.min. So I'm just going to copy that. So we want it to be in the root file of this plugin. We want to go to the CSS folder, and we want to add in that hover.min.css, and then we want to go underscore underscore, so double underscore file underscore underscore, close that bracket and finish it out. So closing, false, and done. So now if I go Control Alt Control C, go back to our edit our plugin, Control Alt Control V, so we've now got our enqueue style sheet, and hit update. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hit refresh just to check. Yep, I haven't broken the block. We'll just go back in, open that block options. We've saved that. Let's hit refresh, and we've got our FA anchor. Something's not right. Hang on. Looks like I haven't closed it out properly. Let's have a look. And I haven't. I haven't put in. So see, I've opened it here with the greater than, less than sign. So I need to close that out. Let's go Control Alt Control C. Go back into my plugin, Control Alt Control V. Hit update. So don't underestimate the power of your inspector. So straight away I can see span, 2 spans. So we've pasted that and updated it. Let's hit refresh. And we still can't see our FontAwesome. So now our class is loading right. Got our FontAwesome. Let's just go to our FontAwesome here. Let's just double check that I'm using it. So let's choose an icon. Let's go anchor because that's what we're using. Let's just double check. There's our anchor. So it should be going FA-FA anchor. Yep, that's right. Let's go view page source. And we've got our FontAwesome here. And there's our FontAwesome. So why is and we've got our FA-FA anchor. So why is that not working? Let's just try a different one. Let's go adjust, save, hit refresh. Oops, nothing's still there. Okay, give me a sec. I'm just going to try and work out what's going on here. Okay, so not sure what's going on there in relation to loading up that FontAwesome. I tried re-downloading the file and queuing it, but it just wouldn't work. The class I'm doing, the enqueuing style that I'm doing is 100% correct. So if I do it again, enqueue, enqueue QUEUE underscore style, and let's make this animate just to show that it works. Plugins underscore URL close brackets, then we want / CSS / hover -min.css, which is our, if we go back to my folder here in our block, in our CSS, we got that hover.min.css file, and there we go, comma, false. Close that off and close it off. So if I go Control-C, go back into my plugins, Control-V. So now we're not queuing the FontAwesome, we're queuing that hover effect, which, if you remember from our front page, is all these effects. So let's check if it's working. Let's go and change this to, I don't know, let's make it something that's really going to stand out. Let's make it grow. Oh, that'll do. Which grow is the first one. So it's, when we hover over it, let's make it pulse grow. So that's what it will look like, pulsating when we are hovering our mouse over it. So let's go pulse grow. Hit save. Let's hit refresh. And you can see that that is actually working now, because the effect is in itself working. But the one thing you'll notice as well, is when you hover over it, it's getting bigger than outside that div. So we want to apply that whole effect over the button, really. So we'll have to have a look at that. But you can see that that's working. So the style sheet, so really all we should have to do would be to make that FontAwesome. But I'm going to change it up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go FontAwesome, because that's what we're going to call it, that's what we're queuing, and we're not going to go to our plugins URL. We are going to go straight into our source. So if we jump over back to our website, go to FontAwesome and click on Get Started, you can see we've got the code all just there. So let's just copy that because that's where we want just that one URL. Jump back over to here. We'll delete that, and between those apostrophes we'll paste in that FontAwesome effect. Control Alt Control C. Go back to our page. Edit our plugin. Get Control Alt Control V. So we can see we're now enqueuing it direct from the FontAwesome website, and we would actually paste that into our Headway header style sheet under our options in the back end if we weren't incorporating this. So this will still work. So now we don't have to include the FontAwesome. When the page loads, it'll reach out to this CDN and grab the style sheet. So let's hit that. Let's go update. Let's make sure we have a let's make it an Android. Let's hit save. So we've got an icon in there. Let's hit refresh. Oh, we've got an error on line 14 in the block PHP file. So line 14 was that. Let's just, might be all this. Let's just delete all of that. Let's just close that off. So we've got our FontAwesome and a link. Control C. Okay, so let's Control Alt Control V, paste that in there. So now we've got rid of all those that are brackets and false. Let's try that. Update. Let's hit refresh. Reload this page, and let's make sure that our we got an Apple. Let's change that back to Android. Hit save, and let's go and refresh that page, and there, it's working. Alright, so when I was testing, I added in some more custom code into here, so we can get rid of that, just to make sure that I was styling it right, using the correct FA in the block. Hit refresh, and there we go. So now we've got our Android, and we've also got our hover effect. Because when we made the block, when we did all here, we included the hover, which is that class, and we added the text, and then the FontAwesome. So our block is starting to take shape. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and add in all of this code for all of our options. So every option we created, I'm just going to go and add that into here. I'm not going to bore you making you watch this, so I'm just going to pause the video while I go ahead and do that. So I'll be right back in just a second. Okay, so welcome back. You can see there that I've pasted in, got all the options there. I've also put them in order that we've listed them down there. Obviously you don't grab the heading, so when you're doing this you don't need them because you're not actually returning a value, obviously. Now I'll probably also be moving these last 4 items as well. I don't think we'll be using those in the color. We're going to use the CSS function within the block up here, which we'll go through in the next video. Okay, so what I want to teach you now, what I want to go through now is where are we up to? We've got our URL button URL. We've got our class of hover, so we've assigned the hover effect. We've got our text, and we've got our FontAwesome. The next thing we want to do is whether we want it into a new tab. So what we want to do is just enter down here, and so we're going to go new button window, and we're going to pull out the value that we created up here. So I'm just going to double click that, and so basically the new button window is going to return, if it is true, we're going to return underscore blank colon and then nothing. So if Headway new tank is true, return blank, otherwise return nothing. Semicolon, and what we want to do is, so in here we would go target. So in our HTML here, so we would normally go aref target equals, and then we'd type underscore blank, but we don't want to do that. We want to go apostrophe dot, and we want to now So we're not using this one, we're going to be using this value here. Just like that. Oops, better put the dollar sign in front. There we go. Dot apostrophe. So let's hit Control Alt Control C on that. We'll jump back into our block. Control Alt Control V, and so there's if new window is true. If button new tab is true, assign underscore blank value, and so basically if it's true, target will be underscore blank. Otherwise, target will be nothing. Let's hit update. Let's jump over here. We'll hit refresh. So at the moment, if we click on that, it opens in the same window. Let's go back. But if we check the open in new tab, let's hit save, reload our page, and now when we click it, it's opening in the new tab. So we have that working. So all our classes are working. We've got our hovers, we've got our FontAwesome, we've got our text, we've got our whether we're going to open it up in a new window or a new tab, and we've assigned our URL. So coming up in the next video, we're going to start assigning our CSS. So we're going to start adding some styling into our button, so we can start assigning our colors and our transition effects. So stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you soon.